Okay, hello again. I'm going to go over the last 2 chapters and answers since I have not posted a video. Los Higos, which was figs, chapter 4, was the answer key that I gave you by accident. So, number 1 was the escape, D. This is for chapter 4. Number 2 was C, scheming, and then the rest give you the answers. Number 7 was a simile, A. Don't worry about those, though. Just in case someone was wondering, though. Okay, Las Guayabas, which would be chapter 5, Guavas. Number 1, what was the author's purpose in adding the flashback about the train ride? So the purpose of this flashback was to compare the 2 train rides, so it's B. So the author wanted to show you when Esperanza and Miguel and Papa went to Zacatecas on the train. They took this beautiful rich person train, and it had like meals and mangoes and all these dressy clothes, and it was wonderful. The author showed you that train ride. Then you've got to see the other train ride that Esperanza went on to get to wherever they were going. I can't even think. That one they rode like poor people, like the peasants, and it was definitely not anything close. So it's B to make a comparison of the 2 trips to Zacatecas. Number 2. Which word best describes Esperanza's feeling about the wagon ride? Yes, it's long. Yes, it's smelly. Yes, it's bumpy. But she's very claustrophobic. That was when she started to get nervous about being shoved underneath the one row where the guavas were on top of them. What do you think could be in the package that must be watered during the trip? So I'm not going to tell you this because I know what's in the package. So whatever you think is fine. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you. So number 3, whatever you put is correct. Number 4, Carmen says, I am poor, but I am rich. How can a poor person be rich? So I said that she can be rich with family and love and memories, just like she said. She has her children. She has the memories of her loved ones. And she has love, so she is rich. So you can be rich with something other than money. Number 5, complete the chart to summarize the main events that took place in chapter 5. Who? Esperanza, Mama, Alfonso, Miguel, and Hortensia. What? Traveling to the USA, traveling to California. When? After the ranch burnt down. Where? From Aguas Calientes to Zacatecas. And how? On a wagon and train. So that's what I put. If you have something different, then as long as it pertains to the chapter, then that's fine. Number 6, reread this passage from chapter 5. Mama, said Esperanza, stopping in the doorway, we cannot travel in this car. It is not clean, and the people do not look trustworthy. What does this tell you about Esperanza? I put that she doesn't understand that she's now a poor person. She's now a peasant as well. She's not understanding that. That's not clicking to her. It's showing that she is used to this way of life that she used to live, and they didn't ride the peasant trains back then, but now they have no choice. So it shows that she's not really understanding her place right now. Number 7, read this passage. Miguel looked at Esperanza, wrinkled his forehead, and shook his head. There is a Mexican saying, full bellies and Spanish blood go hand in hand. What does this mean? Typically, the Spanish people were the rich landowners, so they had full bellies, meaning they had food to eat and stuff like that, the Spanish people. Number 8, why do you think the author included the young girl who wanted to hold Esperanza's doll in the story? This could really be whatever you think. Definitely shows that she loves the doll because it's the last gift that Papa gave her, and it's the only thing she saved from the ranch. But it also shows that she is, A, she's not good at sharing, clearly. She's never had to share. And B, she still is thinking that these poor people are dirty and gross, and she's grossed out by them, when in reality, she's going to become one of them. So, okay. So don't worry about changing your answers on these written questions. We discussed them, and that's good enough. As long as you acknowledge, what you would change. Don't worry about changing it all, though. You don't have to do that. Okay, now we're going to do chapter 6, which was yesterday's chapter really quick. Number 1. Which 3 words best summarize chapter 6? So they like to trick you with these, and they give you words that are, all of these words, A, B, C, and D, were all mentioned in the chapter. But A is the one that is the most correct. Immigration, truck ride, and prejudice. Immigration is because they're immigrating to the United States. Truck ride, they rode in the back of that truck together, and she talked to Marta then. And prejudice, meaning being judged being judged by her outward appearance. So Esperanza's judging the peasants, but now she's being judged. Marta is judging her because she was rich. She's like, silver spoon stuck in your mouth. So a silver spoon is a metaphor for getting everything you want. You're served things on a silver platter, fed with a silver spoon. So A makes the most sense. Number 2, why does Miguel feel the need to apologize to Esperanza? So Miguel had written letters to his cousin Isabel when he was working at El Rancho de los Rosas. And he wrote in his letters that Esperanza was spoiled. And so when Isabel said that to Esperanza, Miguel felt bad, so he apologized for that. Number 3, Marta smirked at Esperanza and said, just so you know, this isn't Mexico. No one will be waiting on you here. Then she gave her a phony smile and said, ¿Entiendes? Understand? What is the tone? I said rude. I felt like that was very rude. Condescending, if you know what that means. It means kind of like talking down to someone. So Marta is not very nice to Esperanza. I think that she's judging her before she even gets to know her. It's very rude and condescending. Number 4, read this passage from chapter 6. Seeing nothing but the vast sky and dizzying swirls of blue and white, she began to feel as if she were floating and drifting upward. She lifted higher, and a part of her liked the sensation, but another part of her felt untethered and frightened. This is a metaphor for, this one was hard. This one was hard for me, but this is a metaphor for Esperanza's feelings and emotions right now. So part of her is liking what's happening to her life right now and is thankful that she doesn't have to be stuck with Tio Luis and all that they made it to the USA and that they're all still together and that Abuelita's coming. So part of her is happy about that. But then the other part where it says another part of her felt untethered and frightened, that's the other part of her being very scared about what her new life holds. Because she really doesn't know how she's going to fit in here and she's just scared. Okay, number 5. Which word best describes the mood at the beginning of chapter 6? Satisfied, nervous, energetic, or ecstatic? I would say nervous. Esperanza was nervous for sure. She definitely wasn't the other 3. Number 6. Which word best describes the mood at the end of chapter 6? A, rejected, B, cranky, C, suspenseful, or D, confused? I would say rejected because that was when everyone laughed at her. Oh, no, sorry, that's in the next chapter. Sorry. Rejected was when it was right after Marta kind of was like, we don't, do you understand? And kind of said that to her. So I think Esperanza kind of felt like she wasn't going to belong there. Number 7, read this passage from chapter 6. Esperanza stared back at her in silence. The one thing she did understand was that she did not like Marta. This is an example of which type of literary device. I said foreshadowing because it's saying she did not like Marta, so what's going to come next? Number 8, read this passage from chapter 6. On one side of the highway, acres of grapevines stretched out in soldiered rows and swallowed up the arbors. What type of figurative language is used in this passage? Personification. What does it mean? It's showing that the grapevines kind of go as far as you can see, and they're in very straight rows, soldiered rows, so, and swallowed up. Those are things that people do, that trees do not, but the author's giving them those personal characteristics. So it means that there's grapevines as far as you can see, and they're all straight lines. So it's kind of making it so you can really visualize those fields. Okay, so tomorrow I'll go over chapter 7 questions, and I'll read the next chapter in Esperanza. Okay, bye.